Have you ever felt completely hijacked by your own emotions? One moment, you're calm. The next anger floods through you like a wave you can't stop. Your heart races. Your mind spins. And before you know it, you've said something, or done something you deeply regret. What if I told you that over 2,500 years ago, the Buddha taught a precise, step-by-step method to take back control? Not by suppressing your feelings, but by understanding them. By training your mind, the way an athlete trains their body. Today, we're going to explore the ancient 5-step approach to mastering negative emotions: anger, jealousy, resentment, even overwhelming desire. This isn't theory. This is practical wisdom you can use today. Stay with me. By the end of this story, you'll have a roadmap to emotional freedom. Let's begin. Part 1: The Ancient Teaching, Cultivating Awareness. The foundation: seeing what we cannot see. There's a beautiful teaching from the Pali Canon where the Buddha speaks to his monks about the untrained mind. He says, "Just as a chariot out of control drags its driver into danger, so too does an untrained mind drag its owner into suffering." But here's the profound part: the Buddha didn't just diagnose the problem. He gave us the solution. The very first step in controlling negative emotions isn't about control at all. It's about awareness. Think about it. How can you change something you don't even notice? How can you redirect a river if you don't know where it's flowing? Most of us live our entire lives, lost in thought. We react. We respond automatically. Someone criticizes us, anger rises. We see someone succeed, jealousy whispers. We want something we can't have, craving burns. And we think, this is just who I am. But the Buddha taught something revolutionary: you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes them. Let me share a story from the Majjhima Nikaya, the middle-length discourses. There was once a young monk named Molliyapaguna. He was sincere, devoted, but terribly impulsive. His temper would flare at the smallest provocation. A fellow monk would correct him during meditation, his face would flush red. Someone would take his seat, resentment would simmer for days. One day, he approached the Buddha, frustrated with himself. "Venerable Sir," he said, bowing deeply, "I practice diligently. I meditate. I follow the precepts. But these feelings, they still arise. Anger, irritation, sometimes even hatred. Am I a failure on this path?" The Buddha looked at him with such compassion. And then he told him this. "Paguna, imagine you're walking through the forest, and you see a venomous snake on the path. If you don't see it, you step on it, and it bites you. But if you see it clearly, you can simply step around it." He continued, "Your negative emotions are like that snake. The problem is not that they exist. The problem is when you don't see them coming, and they bite you before you realize what's happening. This, my friends, is the essence of mindfulness. Awareness gives you space. Space gives you a choice. Choice gives you freedom." Part 2: The Modern Struggle, a story we all know. Let me tell you about someone who could be any of us. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah is a marketing manager at a tech company. She's talented, hardworking, and respected. But lately, the pressure has been unbearable. Deadlines are stacking upon deadlines. A demanding boss. Colleagues who don't pull their weight. One Thursday afternoon, everything came crashing down. She'd been working on a campaign for 3 weeks, late nights, weekend hours, sacrificing time with her family. The presentation was scheduled for 3 p.m. At 2:45 p.m., her boss walked in and said, almost casually, "Oh, Sarah, we're going in a different direction. James pitched something the client liked better. We won't be needing your presentation today." That was it. No apology. No acknowledgement. Something inside Sarah snapped. Her vision narrowed. Her breath became shallow. Heat rose from her chest to her face. Her hands trembled. And before she could stop herself, she fired back, "Are you kidding me? 3 weeks, David. Are you telling me now? This is completely..." She stopped. Mid-sentence. Because in that split second, she saw herself. She saw the rage. She saw where this was heading, an outburst she couldn't take back. A reputation damaged. Maybe even her job. She saw the snake, before it bit her. "Excuse me," she said quietly and walked out of the office. In the stairwell, alone, she sat down on the cold concrete steps. Her heart was still pounding. But she'd done something crucial. She'd paused. That pause, that tiny moment of awareness, changed everything. Part 3, the 5-step method, the Buddha's progressive training. Step 1, replace the unwholesome with the wholesome. The Buddha taught this in the Vitakasana Sutta, the discourse on the removal of distracting thoughts. He said, just as a skilled carpenter knocks out a coarse peg with a fine one, so too should you replace an unwholesome thought with a wholesome one. This is the gentlest approach. And it's where you should always start. When Sarah sat on those stairs, she didn't try to suppress her anger. Instead, she did something simple. She redirected her attention. She pulled out her phone and looked at her wallpaper, a photo of her daughter laughing at the beach last summer. She remembered that moment. The joy. The warmth. Just for 30 seconds, she replaced resentment with love. Here's the key, you cannot fight darkness. You can only turn on the light. When anger comes, think of someone you're grateful for. When jealousy arises, recall a moment when you felt content. When craving burns, remember a time you felt whole without needing anything. This isn't denial. It's skillful redirection. Step 2, contemplate the danger. But what if step 1 doesn't work? What if the negative thought is too strong, too persistent? The Buddha's second method is to examine the consequences. He taught, monks, when an unwholesome thought arises and persists, examine the danger in it, as one would examine a rotting corpse. Powerful imagery, isn't it? Let's return to Sarah. Imagine she'd let her anger explode in that meeting. What would have happened? She'd have yelled at her boss. Felt a brief, toxic satisfaction. Then, immediate regret. Her colleagues would have witnessed it. The gossip would spread. Her boss would remember. And 3 weeks later, when promotions were discussed, her name wouldn't come up. One moment of uncontrolled emotion. Months, maybe years, of consequences. Ask yourself, where does this anger lead me? If I feed this jealousy, what grows in my heart? If I indulge this craving, will I finally be satisfied, or will it demand more? Sometimes, simply seeing the danger is enough to release the grip. If this wisdom is resonating with you, if you're finding value in these ancient teachings for your modern life, please take a moment to subscribe to Buddha Coha. This channel is dedicated to bringing you practical Buddhist wisdom, no dogma, no complexity, just tools you can use to find more peace, clarity, and freedom. Hit that subscribe button, and let's walk this path together. Now, let's continue. Step 3, Pay it no mind, the art of non-engagement. This is perhaps the most misunderstood technique, but also one of the most powerful. The Buddha said, just as a person with good eyes, not wishing to see forms that come into view, would close their eyes or look away, so too should you pay no mind to that thought. This isn't suppression. This is non-engagement. A famous Zen saying is, a thought is like a cloud passing through the sky. The sky doesn't chase it. The sky doesn't push it away. The sky simply remains, sky. You are the sky. Anger is the cloud. Let me give you a modern example. Imagine you're scrolling through social media, and you see a post from an old friend. They're on vacation, again. Expensive resort. Perfect family photos. And something ugly rises in you. Why do they get everything? Why is my life so ordinary? Here's what most of us do, we engage. We click. We scroll through all their photos. We compare. We create stories, they're probably in debt. Their relationship is probably fake. They're showing off. And with each thought, the poison spreads deeper. But what if you just kept scrolling? What if you noticed the jealousy, acknowledged it, oh, there's jealousy, and then moved on? No story. No drama. Just, next. The thought loses power when you stop feeding it attention. Step 4, Relax the formation, softening with loving kindness. Sometimes, the thought is too persistent. It keeps circling back. And trying to ignore it feels like trying not to think about a pink elephant. The Buddha's fourth method is beautiful. Relax the mental tension with positive emotion. He taught, just as a person walking quickly can choose to walk slowly, and one walking slowly can choose to stand, and one standing can choose to sit, and one sitting can choose to lie down, progressively abandoning the grosser posture for the subtler, so too should you relax the formation of that thought. This is where loving kindness practice, metta bhavana, becomes your shield. Let's go back to Sarah one more time. A few days after that meeting, she's still carrying resentment toward her boss. It's quieter now, but it's there. A heaviness in her chest whenever she sees him. That evening, sitting quietly at home, she tries something she'd read about. She closes her eyes and whispers, "May David be free from suffering. May he be peaceful. May he be happy." At first, it feels forced. Even absurd. He doesn't deserve my kindness, her mind protests. But she continues. And slowly, something softens. She's not condoning his behavior. She's not pretending it didn't hurt. She's simply choosing not to carry poison in her heart. Loving kindness doesn't make you weak. It makes you free. Because when you wish someone well, even someone who hurt you, you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. You're releasing the grip that resentment has on your peace. Step 5. Crush it with determined awareness, the warrior's path. And now, the final step. The one the Buddha reserved for those with training, experience, and mental strength. He taught, just as a strong person might seize a weaker person by the head or shoulders and hold them down, so too, with teeth clenched and tongue pressed against the roof of the mouth, should you crush that thought with the force of awareness. This is not the gentle path. This is the warrior's path. It requires you to stand face to face with your demon and say, "No. You will not control me." Imagine a monk, deep in meditation, when suddenly a wave of rage arises, maybe a memory, maybe a deep-seated trauma. And instead of redirecting, instead of contemplating or ignoring, he meets it head-on. He breathes. He focuses every ounce of awareness. He watches that rage like a falcon watches its prey. And he does not move, does not flinch, does not react. And in that fierce, unwavering attention, the thought collapses. Because it has nothing to feed on. But here's the warning, this step requires practice. Attempting this too early is like trying to lift a weight you're not ready for, you'll injure yourself. Start with steps 1 through 4. Build your strength. And when you're ready, you'll know. Part 4, Wisdom Reflection, what the teaching really means. The progressive nature of training. Notice something beautiful about the Buddha's teaching, it's gradual. He doesn't demand perfection. He doesn't say, just stop being angry. He gives you 5 different tools, because he knows some days you're strong, some days you're fragile. Some days, redirecting your thoughts is enough. Other days, you need to sit with loving kindness. And sometimes, you need to bring out the warrior. This is compassion in action. The Buddha meets you where you are. As it says in the Dhammapada. Little by little, moment by moment, a wise person removes their own impurities, as a silversmith removes the dross from silver. You're not trying to be perfect tomorrow. You're trying to be a little more aware today. The freedom in understanding. Here's what changed for Sarah, and what can change for you. She didn't stop feeling angry. She didn't become a robot, immune to frustration or disappointment. But she learned something profound. Emotions are visitors. They come. They go. But they don't have to run the house. She started noticing, oh, there's frustration, before it became rage. She started redirecting, let me think about what I'm grateful for, before resentment calcified. She started choosing, I will not carry this, before bitterness took root. And over time, peace became her default. Not because life got easier, but because she got wiser. Part 5, Practical Guidance, how you can start today. Let me give you something concrete. Something you can do today. For the next 7 days, try this. Morning intention. Before you check your phone, before the day grabs you, sit quietly for just 2 minutes. Place your hand on your heart and say, today, I will notice my thoughts. I will not be controlled by them. I am aware. I am free. During the day, when a negative emotion arises, and it will, pause. Just for 3 seconds. Notice it. Name it. This is anger. This is jealousy. This is fear. That's all. Just see it clearly. Evening reflection. Before sleep, recall one moment when you saw the emotion before it saw you. Celebrate that. You're training. You're growing. The Buddha once said to Ananda, his devoted attendant, do not underestimate the power of wholesome actions, thinking this will come to nothing. A water pot is filled by a steady stream of water drops. Likewise, the wise person becomes full of goodness, accumulating it little by little. You don't need to master all 5 steps this week. You don't need to conquer every negative thought. You just need to start. One moment of awareness. One redirection. One pause. That's enough. That's everything. So here we are, at the end of our journey together today. You now carry ancient wisdom that has transformed millions of lives across 2,500 years. The 5-step method isn't just philosophy. It's a practice. A path. A promise that you can be free. When anger comes, you have tools. When jealousy whispers, you have awareness. When resentment weighs you down, you have loving kindness. And step by step, breath by breath, moment by moment, you're training your mind. You're becoming the master, not the servant. Remember Sarah, sitting on those stairs, heart pounding, choosing to pause. That can be you. That is you. The Buddha didn't teach this path to perfect people. He taught it for people just like us, struggling, stumbling, trying our best. And he promised, if you practice, you will see results. Not overnight. Not magically. But gradually, genuinely, beautifully. If this message touched your heart, I invite you to subscribe to Buddha Coha. Let this be a space where you return, again and again, for wisdom, for peace, for guidance on your journey. Share this video with someone who's struggling. Someone who needs to hear that they're not broken, they're just untrained. And training is possible. Leave a comment below. What's one negative emotion you're ready to work with this week? Let's support each other. And remember this final teaching from the Dhammapada. You are your own master. You are your own refuge. Therefore, train yourself as a merchant trains a noble horse. You have everything you need. The path is clear. And you are ready. Thank you for being here. May you be peaceful. May you be free. Until next time, walk gently, breathe deeply, and stay awake.